For many years, Robert Redford captivated the world with his effortless charm, undeniable talent, and a career that seemed tailor-made for Hollywood's golden spotlight. His life appeared to be an open book, gracing red carpets, delivering unforgettable performances, and embodying the essence of a leading man. But behind the dazzling lights and public adoration, there was a hidden chapter he never spoke of. A love story so deep and personal that he kept it locked away for years. From an intense Hollywood romance to the quiet, defining moments that shaped his journey, Redford carried a secret that no one saw coming. Now at 88, the legendary actor is finally ready to break his silence and reveal the truth about the woman who left an everlasting mark on his heart. Who was she? Why did he keep their love hidden for so long? And what made him decide that now, after all these years, was the time to finally share his most guarded truth? You've probably admired Robert Redford as one of the most legendary actors ever, right? That sun-kissed, golden-haired man whose captivating smile made Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid unforgettable, or the effortlessly charming lead opposite Barbra Streisand in The Way We Were. But before Hollywood molded him into a star, Robert was just an ordinary boy navigating life in a blue-collar neighborhood in Santa Monica, California. His father handled finances as an accountant, his mother ensured the household ran smoothly, and together they lived a simple life in Venice. It wasn't exactly the glamorous start you'd expect for a future film icon. Even as a young boy, Robert stood out in unexpected ways. He had a deep passion for art, sports, and nature, far more than academics. Calling himself a poor student, he struggled to concentrate in class. Yet his focus sharpened the moment he picked up a paintbrush or stepped onto a tennis court. Incredibly, he once had the chance to warm up tennis legend Pancho Gonzalez at the Los Angeles Tennis Club. Can you picture that? But when it came to schoolwork, he found himself falling further behind, unable to keep up with expectations. His struggles only deepened after enrolling at the University of Colorado. A downward spiral began. His drinking increased, he lost his scholarship, and soon he was expelled. That moment could have marked the end of his ambitions, but instead, it set him on an entirely new course. Rather than succumbing to failure, Robert embarked on a soul-searching journey through Europe, immersing himself in the cultures of France, Spain, and Italy. Living modestly, he spent his days painting, sketching, and searching for a greater sense of purpose. It was in those formative years that the idea of acting first took root in his mind. When he eventually returned to the US, Robert knew it was time to embrace a fresh start. Settling in New York, he pursued painting at Pratt Institute before stepping into the world of acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Success didn't happen overnight. There were no instant breakthroughs, but he remained determined, accepting small roles in theater and television while working towards something bigger. And now, it's time to reveal the love story that had an undeniable impact on Robert Redford's life, a romance unlike any other. During the late 1950s, Robert crossed paths with Lola Van Wagenen. Unlike him, she was serene, steady, and deeply connected to her Mormon roots. Her upbringing in Provo, Utah was worlds apart from his California childhood. Yet, despite their differences, they formed an undeniable bond. She recognized something special in him, and he found something just as profound in her. Their connection was so powerful that in 1958 they defied her parents and secretly wed. Imagine it, a young couple, barely out of their teens, throwing caution to the wind because they couldn't bear to be apart. It sounds like a tale straight out of a novel. However, their early years together were anything but glamorous. Robert was still struggling to establish himself in acting, and financial hardships followed them everywhere. They moved between modest apartments, making do with whatever work he could find. Then came a heartbreaking tragedy, the loss of their firstborn, Scott, to sudden infant death syndrome. The pain was unimaginable, the kind of sorrow that could shatter even the strongest bonds. Instead, it forged them together even more tightly. In those dark days, Lola became Robert's pillar of strength. He later described her as the greatest love of his life, and it's easy to see why. She never wavered, staying by his side through every setback, convinced that he would one day succeed. As Robert's career gained momentum, life became increasingly hectic. His big break arrived in 1963 with Barefoot in the Park on Broadway, where he played a newlywed opposite Elizabeth Ashley. Audiences adored him, and Hollywood took notice. Before long, he was appearing on television shows like The Twilight Zone and Perry Mason, eventually landing major film roles. By the late 1960s, he had become a full-fledged movie star. You've probably watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where he shared the screen with Paul Newman. Their on-screen partnership was magnetic, and the film became a massive hit. Practically overnight, Robert transformed from a rising actor into a Hollywood sensation. But as we all know, fame comes with its own set of challenges. His career demanded constant travel, often keeping him away for months at a time. Meanwhile, Lola was left to manage their household, raising their 3 children, Shauna, David, and Amy, on her own. The strain of maintaining both his soaring career and his family life took its toll. Looking back, Robert has openly admitted that he wishes he had prioritized his family more. He was relentless in his ambition, determined to carve out a legacy for himself. But in the midst of it all, he struggled to find balance. Even as their marriage faced difficulties, they shared moments of deep connection. Lola wasn't just his partner, she was his confidant, his unwavering support. She encouraged him when he chose to launch the Sundance Film Festival, a project that would revolutionize independent cinema. For Robert, it was more than just an event. It embodied his passion for storytelling and his desire to uplift emerging filmmakers. Without Lola's faith in him, Sundance might never have come to life. However, by the mid-1980s, the distance between them had become impossible to ignore. After 27 years as husband and wife, they made the painful choice to part ways in 1985. Their separation wasn't filled with hostility. Instead, they remained on good terms, continuing to co-parent their children. Still, it marked the closing of a significant chapter in both of their lives. Lola, in Robert's words, was the greatest love of his life. A declaration that reveals just how profound their connection was. Despite their marriage not lasting, she left an unforgettable imprint on him. Once Robert and Lola went their separate ways, his world underwent significant changes, both in his personal and professional life. The loss of that stable foundation wasn't easy by any means, yet he refused to let the heartbreak hold him back. By 1987, shortly after finalizing his divorce, Robert encountered Sonia Braga, the spirited Brazilian actress celebrated for her fearless roles and captivating presence. Their connection was immediate, and their romance sizzled from the start. Sonia wasn't just stunning, her fiery passion mirrored Robert's own intensity, making their time together nothing short of thrilling. Though their relationship only lasted under a year, it was anything but forgettable. During this whirlwind romance, Robert was actively promoting the Milagro Beanfield War, a film he directed that highlighted the struggles of a small New Mexico town against powerful developers. While it wasn't a massive box office hit, it carried a depth and heart that Robert deeply valued. His time with Sonia was filled with adventure and mutual admiration, and they even graced the Cannes Film Festival together, dazzling the red carpet. But as intense as their love was, it faded just as fast, and by 1988, they had moved on. 2 years later, while working on Havana in 1990, Robert's life took yet another turn when he met Lena Olin, a mesmerizing Swedish actress with an arresting gaze and undeniable charisma. Their chemistry wasn't confined to the screen, it spilled into real life, making their attraction impossible to ignore. Watching them act together, the spark between them was undeniable. At the film's premiere, anyone paying close attention would have noticed that their kiss wasn't just an act, it was genuine. Their relationship, lasting around a year, left an impact on them both. More than just romance, Robert and Lena shared a creative and emotional connection that added depth to their bond. At the same time, Robert was making daring career moves. Havana was set during the Cuban Revolution, a film layered with political and emotional complexity. Robert thrived on projects with depth, and he brought that same passion into his relationship with Lena. However, like many Hollywood love stories, theirs wasn't built for the long haul, and by 1991, they had amicably gone their separate ways. Jump to the mid-1990s, and Robert was proving that aging didn't mean slowing down. He starred opposite Michelle Pfeiffer in Up Close and Personal, a romantic drama that left audiences swooning. The film told the tale of an experienced journalist falling in love with a rising TV anchor, blending themes of ambition, mentorship, and passion. Even at 58, Robert played romantic leads effortlessly, his rugged charm and natural charisma making it look easy. Off-screen, however, his romantic life continued to shift. Around this time, he became involved with Kathy Orr, a talented costume designer significantly younger than him. Unlike his past relationships, Kathy wasn't part of the Hollywood limelight, which may have been exactly what drew Robert to her. She was down-to-earth, creative, and brought a sense of stability to his often chaotic world. Their relationship remained under the radar, absent from tabloids and media headlines. For a time, it was precisely the kind of quiet companionship Robert needed. Robert wasn't just an actor, he was a force shaping the film industry in multiple ways. After making waves with Up Close and Personal, he took on an even more emotionally charged project in The Horse Whisperer, 1998. Not only did he take the director's chair, but he also played a man who rehabilitates troubled horses, helping a family find healing in the process. The movie's success at the box office reinforced what everyone already knew. Robert had the power to captivate audiences, whether in front of the lens or behind it. By this point, Robert had become more than a Hollywood celebrity. He had transformed into a symbol of artistic storytelling. Taking bold risks and pursuing meaningful narratives, he solidified his influence in the industry. His unwavering commitment to independent filmmaking through the Sundance Film Festival revolutionized the landscape, creating a space for new voices that might have otherwise been unheard. With such an impact, it's no surprise that he was respected not only for his performances, but also for his visionary approach. Yet, Robert's journey proved one thing: balancing love and a demanding career is never simple. His relationships with Sonia, Lena, and Kathy each represented distinct phases of his life, with every woman contributing something unique to his story. Just as his films reflected different aspects of his artistry, his romantic connections showcased varying shades of his personal life. Even his longtime co-star and close friend, Jane Fonda, couldn't help but acknowledge their bond. Jane once revealed that during their time filming Barefoot in the Park and The Electric Horseman, she harbored feelings for Robert. However, she admitted that working with him wasn't always easy. He had a habit of arriving late and could be moody. Despite that, something about him kept drawing her in. Though their partnership remained strictly professional, their dynamic added an intriguing layer to Robert's personal and career narrative. As the 2000s unfolded, Robert's ambitions stretched beyond acting. He directed The Legend of Bagger Vance, took on environmental activism, and produced socially impactful films like The Motorcycle Diaries. He was a man of ceaseless passion, always pushing forward, always evolving. Reflecting on his relationships and career, a pattern emerges. Robert never shied away from taking chances, whether in love or in his professional choices. His romances with Sonia, his connection with Lena, and the comfort he found with Kathy were all integral parts of his story, just as each of his films contributed to his cinematic legacy. A new chapter in Robert Redford's life began when he met Sybil Sagers, a gifted artist and dedicated environmentalist. Unlike a scripted Hollywood romance, their meeting was genuine, set against the serene beauty of his Sundance mountain resort. Sybil arrived in the late 1990s, unfamiliar with Robert's level of fame. Imagine that, meeting him without the weight of his celebrity status. That must have been a welcome change for someone who had lived so much of his life in the limelight. Later, she admitted that before their first dinner, she rented several of his movies just to catch up on his work. Yet, when they finally sat down together, Robert didn't mention his films at all. Their initial conversation wasn't about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. It was about two people making a genuine connection. Robert once shared that the fact she didn't recognize him as an actor made their bond feel more authentic and grounded. As time passed, their connection only grew stronger, leading to their private wedding in 2009 in Hamburg, Germany, her hometown. Sybil, an artist at heart, expresses her deep love for nature and dedication to environmental causes through her work. Whether painting, sketching, or creating performance pieces, her art serves as both a tribute to the earth and a call to action for its protection. Together, Robert and Sile formed a strong partnership, both as life companions and activists. Their shared passion led them to establish a nonprofit called the Way of the Rain, blending Sile's artistic talents with Robert's storytelling to advocate for environmental conservation. Robert once expressed that Sile brought a fresh perspective into his life, and it's clear that their mutual commitment to the environment only strengthened their relationship. While Sile played a major role in Robert's later years, his devotion to his children and grandchildren remained unwavering. With his first wife, Lola Van Wagenen, he had 4 children: Scott, Shauna, James, and Amy. Heartbreak struck early when Scott tragically passed away from SIDS at just 2 months old, a loss that left an everlasting impact on Robert. Over the years, he has openly spoken about how the grief never fully faded, shaping his outlook on life and family. His second son, James Redford, closely followed in his father's footsteps. As a gifted filmmaker and passionate environmental advocate, James used storytelling to raise awareness of critical social issues. Through his work on documentaries, he shed light on the importance of organ and tissue donation, something he personally understood after undergoing 2 liver transplants. James and Robert later co-founded the Redford Center, a nonprofit dedicated to producing films that inspire environmental progress. Losing James to liver cancer in 2020 was yet another devastating chapter in Robert's life. He once described James as someone filled with hope, always striving to make the world a better place. James' legacy lives on, not only through his work, but also as a father and an inspiration to many. Robert's daughters, Shauna and Amy, also inherited his creative spirit. Shauna, born in 1960, pursued a career as an artist. Though she prefers to keep her life private, her artistic work and dedication to her family reflect the quiet resilience that Robert has always admired. After tying the knot with author Eric Schlosser, she embarked on the journey of raising 2 children, Micah and Connor, who are now forging their own unique futures. Amy, the youngest of Redford's children, is yet another powerhouse of creativity. As a filmmaker, director, and producer, she merges her father's storytelling instincts with her own artistic flair. From directing feature films to crafting music videos and short films, she has skillfully balanced a thriving career with raising 3 daughters. Her projects showcase her dedication to amplifying women's voices while tackling the challenges of motherhood with both resilience and artistry. The influence of Robert Redford is unmistakable in the way she seamlessly blends family life with an unyielding passion for storytelling. Beyond his children, Robert finds immense joy in his growing family, which includes 7 grandchildren. Among them, his grandson Dylan has stepped into the family's cinematic tradition, even persuading Robert to contribute his voice to a film called Omnio, a fast boat fantasia. Imagine Redford lending his voice to a dolphin. It's a clear sign that he still embraces humor and wholeheartedly supports his family's artistic endeavors. No matter how much his family expanded and transformed, Robert never put his career on pause. In the 2010s, he tackled some of the most compelling roles of his lifetime. All Is Lost saw him portraying a man stranded at sea in a near-silent performance, where the only companions were the vast ocean and an intense fight for survival. Critics hailed it as one of his finest performances in recent years. Following that, he shocked audiences with his portrayal of the villainous Alexander Pierce in Marvel's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Seeing him as the mastermind behind Hydra was a thrilling departure from the heroic roles that once defined his early career. By 2018, Robert decided to step away from acting, making the announcement after leading The Old Man and the Gun, where he charmed audiences as a seasoned bank robber, a fitting homage to his legendary roles in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It seemed like the perfect curtain call to a career filled with adventure, wit, and nostalgia. But later, Robert confessed that declaring his retirement might have been premature, admitting, "You never know." True to his words, he made a brief comeback as Alexander Pierce in Avengers Endgame, proving that he still had more to offer the screen. Through all these years, Robert's love for storytelling, whether through acting, directing, or producing, has never wavered. His career is a testament to roles that have captivated, challenged, and inspired audiences worldwide. Even outside of Hollywood, his passion for storytelling lives on through his relationships, his collaborations with his children, and his unwavering activism. Now, alongside his beloved partner, Sybil, Robert dedicates himself to what truly matters: his family, his artistry, and his commitment to the environment. He once remarked that life is about continuous learning and growth, no matter one's age. When you look at everything he has achieved and the countless lives he has touched, it's impossible not to feel inspired. Robert Redford is far more than a Hollywood legend. He's a father, a grandfather, an artist, and a firm believer in the power of stories to shape the world. What's your most cherished Robert Redford role or memory? We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching.